Welcome to MSB lecture series on main group chemistry. This is the last but one lecture in the series of 60 lectures on main group elements. Of course, this is going to be the last lecture on organometallic chemistry of main group elements as well. After that, I will be concluding the entire chemistry I spoke in the last 59 lectures. So, let me continue with the organosilicon compounds. Of course, while discussing group 14 chemistry, I did mention about organosilicon compounds and also I discussed about those polymers and all those things. Let me just revisit again. These organosilicon compounds are extensively studied due to the wide range of commercial applications as water repellents, lubricants and sealants. Many oxo-bridge organosilicon compounds can be synthesized. So, one such example is shown here. You can see between this trialkyl or trimethyl silicon, there is a oxygen bridge which is resistant to moisture and air, because here there is an extensive delocalization of oxygen lone pair over silicon empty orbitals. As a result, what happens, the bond is resistant to moisture and air, and also it has elasticity in it. Okay. So, the lone pairs on oxygen are partially delocalized into the vacant sigma star orbitals of silicon. As a result, the directionality of the SiO bond is reduced, making the structure more flexible. So, if you go back, I showed here, it is not essentially the silicon 3D orbital which overlap with 2p orbitals of oxygen. It is essentially sigma star of Me3Si that interacts with pi electrons present on oxygen. This is called negative hyperconjugation, and in some books if they refer as d pi p pi interaction, it is not correct, because the 3D orbitals are too high in energy and they are not really used in any bonding in case of silicon. Although we come across sodium hexafluorosilicate Na2SiF6 where silicon has coordination number 6, it is again a hypervalent molecule. Two fluorine atoms, whatever they are giving 4 electrons, they essentially remain non-bonding. That I showed when I was discussing molecular orbital theory of polyatomic molecules, especially in case of sulfur hexafluoride. So, the flexibility permits silicon elastomer to remain rubber like down to very low temperature. Delocalization also accounts for low basicity of an oxygen atom attached to silicon, as the electrons needed for the oxygen atom to act as base are partially removed. As a result, the Lewis basicity is also reduced. The planarity of trimethylsilyl or NSiH3 3 times is also explained by the delocalization of the lone pair on nitrogen. It is also very weak, basic in nature. For example, if you are considering N SiH3 3 times, one can write here N so here the delocalization is there. As a result, this lone pair is delocalized into I can call essentially 2p pi to SR3 sigma star. So, you can call it as pi to sigma star. So, this is called negative hyperconjugation. Because of this one, what happens, electrons are delocalized. As a result, this nitrogen is no longer Lewis basic in nature, or it is very weak base compared to triethylamine or trimethylamine. So, let us look into the preparation of some of organosilicon compounds. I did mention that I had discussed earlier, but let me come back and write some of these reactions. Here methyl chloride is treated with silicon over heated copper at 573 Kelvin to form MEnSiCl4 minus N. If I take SiCl4 and treat with 4 equivalents of RLi, it gives R4Si. For example, SiCl4 silicon tetrachloride is treated with 4 equivalents of methyl lithium, it forms tetramethylsilane. Or treatment with 1 equivalent of RLi gives RSiCl3 plus LiCl. One can also react silicon tetrachloride with Grignard reagent, 2RMgCl. It gives or dimethyl dichlorosilane on treatment with tertiary butyl lithium gives tertiary butyl dimethyl chlorosilane. Like this, one can do a series of reactions to get desired compounds made. So, silicon carbon bonds are relatively strong here. The bond enthalpy is about 318 kilojoules per mole, and R4Si tetraalkyl silane derivatives possess very high thermal stabilities. Tetraethylsilane on chlorination gives ClCH to CH2 Si 4 times. So, in contrast to the chlorination of R4 tetraalkyl germanium or tetraalkyl tin, which essentially yield similar reactions yield Rn GeCl4 minus N or Rn SnCl4 minus N. So, this is the difference between the reactivity of silicon to carbon bond and rest of the group 14 members. Me2SiCl2 dimethyl dichlorosilane on hydrolysis produces silicones. Initially, it can give Me2SiOH plus 2HCl and this can undergo so it can continue like this. Okay, if it is more, okay, it can undergo hydrolysis to form a chain or a cyclic structure. Me3SiCl can react with sodium Cp to give cyclopentadienyl compound as well. For example, Me3SiCl when it is reacted with NaCp, it gives, of course, here heptacity is 1. The reaction between dialkyl dichlorosilane and alkali metal or alkali naphthalides gives a cyclic compound of this type by loss of chloride, and Si-Si bond formation takes place here. So, bulky R groups favor smaller rings, and if you use sufficiently bulky group, even a Si-Si double bonded compound can also be made. For example, here diphenyl dichlorosilane when it is treated with here SiPH2 5 times, okay, having Si 5 linkages with the dilithiated one, it can give a hexamer of this type having Si bond and each silicon having 2 phenyl groups. So, bulky substituent stabilize. If you use sufficiently bulky substituents, it can stabilize Si double bond. For example, R2 Si, something like this. The sterically demanding 2, 4, 6, for example, in these cases R can be, one can use something like this. Two, 4, 6 triisopropyl phenyl group. Okay. So, this is essentially a first example of a compound having silicon-silicon double bond. This type of compounds are also known. Okay. One can make, or one can also make a compound of this type as well. Okay. Of course, similar compounds are known for germanium as well, and here also again bulky groups are used, 2,4,6 diisopropyl phenyl group, and the spatial arrangement of two conjugated double bonds about the intervening single bond is described as S-cis if syn periplanar and S-trans if anti-periplanar. So, this is how the naming of these two different conformations. Organogermanium compounds, as I mentioned, similar organogermanium compounds can also be made. You can see here, of course, here one can take this a lithium reagent and one can take a halide reagent, and then when you combine, lithium bromide is liberated, that leads to the formation of this butadiene type compounds here. You can also see with the tin, one can make organotin compounds using one of these methods here, okay. Or depending upon the compounds we need to prepare, you can choose the right kind of organometallic reagent. Of course, if you are keen, find out the structures of Me3SiCH2 whole thrice SNF as well as dimethyl difluorostine compound. Of course, one can use valence bond theory conveniently to arrive at the structures of these two compounds. Okay. Tin two organometallic compounds of the type R2SN containing SN carbon sigma bonds are stabilized only if R is sterically demanding. That means, with very bulky group R2SN can undergo dimerization. For example, SnCl2, I have shown one reaction here, SnCl2 treated with this very bulky lithium salt leads to the formation of a R2SN type compound, and it is monomeric in solution and dimeric in solid state, but the dimer does not possess a planar SN2R4 similar to ethylene, slightly different, and here SN bond distance is 267, which is shorter than a normal SN bond distance of 276 picometer. So, this indicates some multiple bond character in this compound. That means, SN2R4 has a trans bent structure with a weak SN double bond. It appears something like this, So, it is in contrast to the carbon analog C2R4, okay, ethylene derivative. It has a planar structure, okay, whereas this one is a bent structure. Then how to explain the bonding in this one? Okay, so one can explain bonding using a different hybridization concept here. So, here let us consider SN. For this one, of course, SN has NS2 NP2 electronic configuration. We have something like this. So, initially we have something like this. Okay. So, now prior to the reaction, what happens? It undergoes hybridization, sp2 hybridization. In this sp2 hybridization, basically what happens? Electron is not promoted here, okay, to the one of the p. One of the p remains empty, and now these undergo hybridization. to form 3 sp2 hybrid orbital. So, 3 sp2 hybrid orbital will be having a situation like this now, 2 electrons, 1 electron, 1 electron. So, now with Sn, okay, 1 electron and 2 electron are there. So, now here we have this p orbital is here. So, this is coming here, it is perpendicular to that one. So, of course, here R is there. So, this is completed, this is completed. So, one more such species will come here. This is your p orbital. So, this is with R completed sp a covalent bond. Now, these two will interact. So, in order to facilitate this interaction, it cannot be something like this. Okay, it has to be something like this. So, in this case, appropriate orientation of this MTP orbital can come and interact with this one. Okay, so that means here this is very interesting. Of course, here if you overall consider 4 bonds are there, 4 electrons are there, 2 covalent bonds are there, but on the other hand this is little different and also this is weak. However, it adds a multiple bond character here. Yes, we can see here this is a sp2 having 2 electrons and this is sp2 having 1 electron, each are completed the bonding here, covalent bonds, and here this is the p orbital orientation and this is the p orbital orientation. In order to facilitate the interaction between these lone pairs and one of the MTP orbital, they have to be bent in this fashion. As a result, the overlapping happens, that results in the organotin compound having this kind of structure. And similar kind of bonding concept can be utilized in explaining the silicon double bond as well as tin double bond and lead double bond as well. So, silicon double bond one can use, even silicon triple bond also one can use this method, and also PB double bond also one can explain using this kind of sp2 hybridization, having 2 sp orbital having 1 electron and 1 sp2 having 2 electron and having a MTP orbital, they interact in this fashion to form this kind of bonding. The first organotin hydride was reported only recently in 2000. So, this was prepared in this fashion. Dibutyl aluminum hydride was treated with RSnCl to form R2SN2H2 here, and this shows dimeric structure in the solid state containing hydride bridges like this, and this SN distance is 312 picometer, and of course, here also very bulky groups are employed to stabilize this SNH bond. So, commercial uses and environmental problems, let us look into it. So, organotin compounds find wide range of applications due to their catalytic and biocidal properties. This compound Bu3SNOAC, acetate compound of tin, is an effective fungicide and bactericide and also a polymerization catalyst, and also this one is also used as a polymerization catalyst and a stabilizer for polyvinyl chloride, and this compound is also used as an algicide, fungicide and also wood preserving agent, and tributyl tin chloride is a bactericide and fungicide, and this one triphenyl tin hydroxide used as an agricultural fungicide for crops such as potato, sugar beet and peanuts, and this sulfur acyclic compound is used as a stabilizer for polyvinyl chloride. Tributyl tin derivative have been used as anti-fouling agents applied to the underside of ships hulls to prevent the buildup, for example, barnacles. I will tell you what are barnacles. Global legislation now bans or greatly restricts the use of organotin based anti-fouling agents on environmental grounds. So, environmental risks associated with the uses of organotin compounds as pesticides, fungicides and PV stabilizer are also a cause for concern. Okay. So, a barnacle is a type of arthropod belonging to infraclass Cirripedia in the subphylum Crustacea and is hence related to crabs and lobsters. Okay. And tetraethyl lead is another important compound used to be an additive for the petrol that is prepared starting from sodium Pb treated with 4 equivalents of ethyl chloride to form tetraethyl lead, and of course this reaction is performed in an autoclave at 373 Kelvin. So, laboratory scale involves the treatment of lead chloride PbCl2 with 4 equivalents of Grignard reagent RmGbr. This gives R2Pb and it further undergoes disproportionate to R4Pb plus Pb comes out. Okay. So, thermolysis leads to radical reactions here. These radical reactions are responsible for its utility in an additive agent in petrol. Of course, because of its toxic and environmental issues, now no longer this is added. That is the reason people use unleaded petrol for their automobiles. Okay. Tetraalkyl and tetraaryl lead compounds are inert with respect to attack by air and water at room temperature. The reason is very simple. They are 4 coordinated and they are stabilized and they do not have empty orbital, and the next empty orbitals are quite high in energy. As a result, they are quite stable towards hydrolysis under normal circumstances at room temperature. If you heat it, of course, they undergo hydrolysis. So, this trimethyl lead chloride consists of linear chain bis-cyclopentadienyl lead compound. Solid state structure is shown here. It shows polymeric structure, but in the gas phase discrete ferrocene type molecules are present which possess the bent structure similar to silicon analog. Of course, as I mentioned, R2Pb double bond PbR2 double bonded dimer of R2Pb, the structure of this one is very similar to the tin compound, and of course one can also look into the structure of hexaphenyl bismuth using VSEPR theory. This is a problem for you can work out. Let us look into organo zinc, cadmium and mercury compounds. These dialkyl compounds of zinc, cadmium and mercury do not associate through alkyl bridges. Okay, and these compounds are only weak Lewis acids. Organocadmium compounds are even weaker, and organomercury compounds do not act as Lewis acids except under special circumstances. Convenient route is metathesis and with alkyl aluminum or alkyl lithium compounds. With alkyl lithium compounds, it is the electronegativity which is decisive, whereas between aluminum and zinc, it is hardness consideration correctly predict the formation of softer methyl zinc or harder aluminum chloride pairs. Okay, so whether zinc has an affinity towards methyl and aluminum has an affinity towards a chloride is what the deciding factor in such reactions. For example, let us look into this reaction here, ZnCl2 plus Al2Me6. If you see here, of course, it readily happens to form dimethyl zinc plus Al2Cl2Me4. Now, here if you see, zinc has an affinity towards methyl group, as aluminum has affinity towards chloride because it is more Lewis acidic in nature. Alkyl zinc compounds are highly pyrophoric and are readily hydrolyzed, whereas alkyl cadmium compounds react more slowly with air due to mild Lewis acidity. Dialkyl zinc and dialkyl cadmium compounds form stable complexes with amines, especially with chelating amines. And zinc to carbon has greater carbanionic character than the cadmium to carbon bond. For example, addition of alkyl zinc compounds across the carbonyl group of ketone. Let us take dimethyl zinc and consider a ketone here. Okay, so it forms something like this, it forms. This reaction do not proceed with the less polar alkyl cadmium or alkyl mercury compounds, but organolithium, organomagnesium and organoaluminum compounds can promote this reaction readily, since all of which contain metals with lower electronegativity than zinc. So, interestingly, the cyclopentadienyl compounds are structurally unusual. CpZnMe is monomeric in the gas phase with a pentahapto Cp group. In the solid state, it is associated in a zigzag chain, each Cp group being pentahapto with respect to 2 zinc atoms. So, this is the complex with 2,2-bipyridine, and of course, this is how a methyl cyclopentadienyl zinc compound forms one dimensional zigzag chain. Talk little bit about mercury toxicity. The toxicity of mercury arises from the very high affinity of the soft mercury atom from sulfhydryl groups in the enzymes. Simple mercury sulfur compounds have been studied as potential analogues of natural system. The mercury atoms are most commonly 4 coordinated, something like this. Okay. So, mercury poisoning was a serious concern even from early days. Isaac Newton, Alfred Stock worked in the early 20th century, he experienced this mercury poisoning. Later in 60s, awareness came following the incidents of brain damage and death it caused among the inhabitants in Minamata, Japan. Mercury from a plastic company was allowed to escape into a bay, where it found its way into fish that were later eaten. Research has shown that bacteria found in sediments are capable of methylating mercury, and that species such as dimethyl mercury or methyl mercury cations enter the food chain because they readily penetrate cell walls. So, the bacteria appears to produce dimethyl mercury as a means of eliminating toxic mercury ions through their cell walls and into the environment. Before I conclude, let me give one reaction here. So, this following reaction here, okay. Look into this reaction I already showed. Zinc chloride with trimethyl aluminum gives dimethyl zinc plus dichlorotetramethyl aluminum dimer. Yes, this reaction occurs here, and if you just look into it, aluminum has 2 methyl bridges and it forms 3 center 2 electron bonds. When it is reacted with zinc chloride, there is a possibility to abstract chlorides from zinc, so that can be utilized for making AlCl bridging, so that now it becomes a 4 electron donor. That means it forms 3 centered 4 electron bond. As a result, this compound is more stabilized. So, yes, this reaction occurs. So, one can analyze in this fashion, and whether you can consider Lewis acidity, whether you can consider hard and soft interaction, or you can consider electronegativity. One of these entities will come very handy in looking to the reaction and analyzing them, whether this reaction happens or not. So, with this I complete the organometallic chemistry, not in depth but briefly, and in my next lecture I will conclude overall whatever I discussed so far in the last 59 lectures. Thank you very much.